THV11 Election Central continues here on THV11 Plus. So glad you could be with us here on our streaming platform. You figured it out. You figured out how to get this app onto your TV.
We've just been telling them for weeks, but it looks like they did it, yeah.
I've gotten texts from my family. It did take my youngest teenage son to figure it out.
Yes. But we've been walking you through all those instructions on how to download it, so we're happy that you're here to join us tonight because we have a lot to cover, from House races, and the latest election results to sales tax. But we do want to go out to THV11's Brooke Buckner as we start off our election coverage on THV11 Plus. Brooke, what can you tell us from the GOP headquarters tonight?
Yeah, well, what I'm noticing right now is the room is really clearing out. That's happened just in the past few minutes, but there is still a crowd behind me very interested in the presidential race. So they're keeping a close eye on that as the night goes on. But just to give you a little recap, French Hill has won the 2nd Congressional District race once again. This will be his 6th term, and he has been representing that 2nd Congressional District since 2015. Now, I caught up with him right after he found out he won, and we talked about how grateful he is to represent Arkansas's 2nd District once again.
We have our own time for choosing in politics every few years, and we've made that choice tonight here in Arkansas, and I'm so proud to be able to represent this great central Arkansas area for another 2 years in the United States House of Representatives.
Now, as you just heard there, all the clapping, all the excitement, that has been in the air really all evening, even before results came in. But that is all I have to report for now from the GOP headquarters. I'll go ahead and send things back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Brooke, thank you very much. Panelist Charles King, J.R. Davis. And this was an election season where Democrats were trying to make inroads, trying to come up with the right kind of candidate for the 4 different districts that we have here. It's hard to say whether or not 30% in Pulaski County does that feel like progress to you?
Well, remember, it's not Pulaski County anymore. We've got 2.2 Congress people in Pulaski County. I do think that the campaign itself, the quality of both candidates, the character of the campaigns, I think that's improvement. Even in Northwest getting as many Democratic votes as Central Arkansas, that's significant. It's a little more growth, slow but steady, but I think that's significant.
And I think, look, Northwest Arkansas continues to grow faster than most regions in the United States, and that's good for the state, but it's going to be tough to deal with politically for, I think, both parties for a while. I mean, no one's going to have a stranglehold up there eventually. It is going to eventually be very, very purple, but I don't think it's happening in the next 2 or 3 cycles. I think it's going to take some time, but I do think what you're going to see over, Republicans can't take that area for granted anymore, I guess is what I'm saying. They've really got to work hard to keep those seats.
And midterm, this is a presidential year, so more people come out. I think in a midterm, when they're able to look more at real local races and not just start at the top and go all the way down, we'll see some more improvement, maybe even a change.
Well,
maybe by 2032 they'll revisit the Fayetteville finger.
Oh, you remember that? That was that would have been something else. I can tell you that. I probably would have been. Womack probably would have been fine with that, though. At this point, I would have made things a little easier.
Now, one of the things that we've heard from just a lot of the candidates when it comes to the House race, we've heard them talk a lot about a focus on veterans. It's something we talk a lot about during 630 Central, and it's really just a nonpartisan issue, especially here in Arkansas, where we have a lot of veterans. So can you talk a little bit about that and just the focus? We heard that from French Hill, just saying that his focus is the economy as well as a focus on veterans and how important that is for voters.
Well, Arkansas is a military state. There was a time when we had a lot more military facilities here. I grew up personally in a military town. Blytheville was an Air Force town. You have an Air Force base here. You have other bases up in the Northwest Arkansas. I think all of those are important. What I really appreciate about it is that it's a personal thing of mine, but you can't get a better American than a soldier, male or female. So when they want to serve their country out of uniform and in a political way, to me it says something. And Arkansas still respects that. That's why both veterans and non-veterans talk about veterans.
And Democrats recruited one to run in the 2nd District as Colonel Marcus Jones, retired Colonel Marcus Jones, going down to defeat tonight. He was at the Democratic Party headquarters or their watch party tonight and had a couple of words from their podium. Rebecca Brown heard some of them. Rebecca?
Thank you, Rolly and Faith. Yeah, a lot of sentimental and emotional speeches here today. We heard from John Pagan, Rodney Govins, and of course Marcus Jones, which was a very attentive race that everybody was looking forward to. All three just basically thanked the Democratic Party, thanked the Arkansans, and thanked voters for believing them this far and also just standing on their values and their morals. Of course, all were saddened to hear the results of them all losing tonight, but they still kept a lot of hope and faith that this won't be the last time you see them, and they were just grateful to be taking that stand and taking a stance in Arkansas. Well, you'll hear a little bit more about what Marcus Jones has to say.
Everything you want in your leaders, they are embodied by people that we had on this ticket. And what amazing folks. And so many of them are here in this room, and so many of them are spread across this district and across this state. So I've got to say an incredible debt of gratitude to them for the amazing work that they have all done.
Again, Marcus Jones, you heard similar stories and similar speeches all tonight, and we'll have more for you coming up on our Wake Up Central. But live in North Little Rock, Rebecca Brown, THV11 News. Sending it back to you, Faith and Rolly.
All right, Rebecca, thank you very much. The most contentious issue all night, at least in Arkansas, has been issue number 2.
Yeah, Carter, you're there now. Have been following this all day, telling us about issue 2 and breaking it down for people who might not know. Carter, what can you share and what is the latest?
Yeah, well, Faith, what we're seeing is essentially the same percentage that we've been seeing all night. 56% for issue 2, which means no casino. Again, that's confusing people. 44% against issue 2. The only thing that's changing is the amount of votes in. And right now, last I saw from the Associated Press, 82% of the vote was in. So we're getting pretty close to all the votes being counted. And I'm joined here right now by Hans Sturitz. We heard from him earlier in the night. He's with Local Voters in Charge, which is a group in favor of issue 2. And Hans, not called yet, but 82% of the vote in. You're up 56-44. What are you feeling at this point in the night?
Yeah, you know, the numbers look great, and we hope they hold up. I think this is really an important issue that Arkansas has weighed in on tonight, and we're obviously happy with the potential results here.
And I do want to ask you about kind of what they're saying down the street. It's the event for the group that is against issue 2 for the casino, and they're pointing out the numbers that Pope County voted against issue 2, meaning they want the casino, but it seems like the state level results might overrule that. They're calling it unfair. I just kind of wonder if you have any response to that. I know this is kind of a recent thing. Just wondering what your thoughts are.
Yeah, you know, it's a challenging issue for Pope County for sure. But when it comes down to it, this is a constitutional issue, and we're looking at it from the state level as how we go about licensing casinos in Arkansas. And I think the addition of the voter control, local voter control portion to Amendment 100 is an important consideration for every county in the state, and the state's weighing in, and that's where we're headed.
And I want to wrap up with this. We're at 82% of the votes in. It honestly could have gone up during this interview. It seems like every time I check, it's 80%, 81%, 82%. What are you maybe hoping, expecting to see the rest of the night?
Yeah, well, obviously hope the numbers stick with the direction that they're going, and it seems likely, hopefully.
All right, and so we'll definitely continue to keep you updated. And Hans, thank you very much for taking the time with us. Again, right now, 82% of the vote in, 56% for issue 2, which means no casino, and county-wide elections for any future casinos, to 44% against. And we'll continue to keep you updated. For now, though, I'm going to send it back to you guys in studio.
All right, Carter, thank you.
It's Mr. Sturitz has been, from the beginning, from the initial vote in 2018, has been against the idea of a casino there in Pope County. Has never weighed in much on the rest of the state, and we've had 3 other casinos, full-blown casinos, arrive here. And certainly things changed in that part of the state as the Cherokee got their proposal together and all the different litigation. But to his credit, Sturitz has been, despite all the money, the millions that came from the Choctaw for this campaign, he has been pure, I'll say, in terms of his opposition, at least wanting the folks of Pope County to have had a say. Hard to read what that say is now after this confusing election year, but at least he's been consistent the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. I do think that, man, your heart goes out to the folks in Pope County because it's happened twice now. Like they didn't want it. They were given, they were forced. It was forced on them in 2018 by the rest of the state. Now they're saying, they want it, and the state's saying, well, we're taking it away. So, I mean, it's just like, it's
the true
really,
loser in issue 2 is Pope County.
It's Pope County. It really is. Yeah, it's remarkable. I mean, for that to happen twice in a 6-year span on the same issue, like, good grief.
And a lot of them just really want a say, making their voices heard. And now it is seeming like special election. They get input on where the casino would be placed, and so we just continue to follow these issues. So
what's so funny is whether there'll have to be another
vote
signature drive. They've had one every year in that part of the state to let's get rid of this casino. It'll be interesting to see if they take this vote tonight and say, let's start this all again. We changed our minds, and see if we can convince you to do this, and whether or not the state just goes,
Yeah, well, I mean, I know there's really no way to ever find this out, but I'd be very curious how many votes were cast out of just sheer confusion. I mean, I really think that there was, people wanting to know if it was, they're voting for it, they're voting against it. I'm sure there were several people that voted for it thinking it was a yes. I mean, it's just very confusing.
Seems like a follow-up story for THV11 the next couple of weeks. So, but let's take a look at issue 1. Seems to have provided a little more clarity, and that's the expanded use of lottery proceeds, and that is now expanded to go to vocational technical schools and technical institutes, no longer kind of reserved for just that traditional public or private nonprofit. So we're taking a look at issue 1, and it looks like it was clear 90% for.
Have you ever seen 90% for issue?
No.
Like what? I don't think I've ever seen that in anything ever. That's wild.
At the risk of bringing up theories and conspiracy theories and that sort of thing, it makes you wonder, who are those 10%? Were they hitting the button wrong on the touch screen?
And what was the argument?
I want to hear their reason. Why?
This was something that had all of the lawmakers, because it was the legislature that initiated it, and they were unanimous in wanting to get this done, Democrats and Republicans. And so again, not to get into conspiracy theories, but there are those people taking videos of hitting a touch screen and something else lighting up. So
but I think it could be one of those, things where you have some voters that are like, keep it the way it is. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I don't want it to change, and I'm just going to keep it the way that it is. So
that might be our measurement right there. 10% of our electorate just went down there and went no on everything. I will say I'll remember this night forever, because I've never, ever seen 90% on anything ever. I mean, that is just really something. I mean, I was just thinking through when that number popped up. I'm like, I mean, it could be, puppies for everybody. You never see 90%.
It's a cake and ice cream vote right there.
And they're not going to show us any numbers on issue 3, but I would love to see those numbers as well, because I think that was probably an 80%er as well.
I think it would have been popular for sure. Yeah.
Universal acclaim for the way the voting process worked in Arkansas so far this year. Maya Ellison has been keeping close tabs on the process. She is right in the room, right next to her, right over her shoulder. They are counting ballots right now. Am I right, Maya?
Well, Rolly Faith, not exactly quite just yet. We just spoke to a Pulaski County Election Commissioner official who told us that there is one more clear bag they're waiting for out of the 14 areas that are within Pulaski County. So basically what that means is that there is one man, literally, we just found this out, that there is one person inside this room that is going to prepare to count those results that are coming in. Now, throughout the day, we have been here throughout the evening in a room across from us, or I guess on the other side of the wall, are commissioners going through discrepancies that were found on absentee ballots. So basically that means if you have an incorrect birthday or maybe a missing signature or missing ID, that's what they're doing. And here is where the magic happens. And they told us that it may be a minute. There could be a clear bag that can roll right in through the room right now, or it could be later on. But until then, we're still keeping an eye out and giving you all updates. Back to you, Rolly and Faith.
Well, thank you so much, Maya. And it's good news to hear that we didn't have any major issues when it came to people casting their ballots. So that's always good news. And the weather cooperated with us a little bit today. Soggy start, but it worked with us.
And that Pulaski County Vote Center has been the site of some exciting nights sometimes, boxes in different positions, of people wondering who's accounted for them, but everything appears to be going smoothly there this evening. Of course, that is right in downtown Little Rock. There has been several right across the street races of much intrigue going on of who will be in the boardroom in City Hall. Ashley Godwin has the latest on those.
Yeah, guys, one of the biggest stories, or one of the biggest questions I have in my mind after covering elections in Pulaski County and in Arkansas for several years now is I don't remember it taking this long in Pulaski County. I feel like by this point we are farther along than we have seen tonight. And Rolly, I want you to correct me since you've been alongside me as well, reporting on elections here in Arkansas. But otherwise, it's been an exciting night for Little Rock elections. We're covering 3 races. It's the sales tax proposal and then 2 city director races. Right now we have 47% of Pulaski County votes accounted for the sales tax proposal. It looks like right now people are voting against it, but again, it's still early. We can't really have a definitive answer or a even close call answer because we are not even 50% of the votes counted. For the city races, we have Director Joan Adcock and Blake Tierney, a very close race. That is one of my biggest takeaways from tonight that I'll be looking into tomorrow, and however long it takes to get these votes in, is to see how that outcome results, because Director Joan Adcock, who's the longest Little Rock City Director, who has served for 30 plus years, is at 45%, while Blake Tierney is at 43%. So a really close race. I haven't seen it this close for Director Joan Adcock ever. So I will be interested to see how that race ends. We're also looking at Director Antoine Phillips and his opponent, Jordan Thomas. Now, Director Antoine Phillips right now is at 58% of the vote, while Jordan Thomas is at 28%. But again, we don't even have 50% of the votes yet, or the results yet. So it'll be really interesting tomorrow and throughout the night as we get these results in to see exactly how these races come to be. Back to you guys.
All right, Ashley, you can say it's been your whole life since Joan Adcock's been in that seat there. And you've lived in Little Rock your whole life, so we appreciate your reporting on that
and
for us.
Ashley had her handful. It's board positions, sales taxes. She was following quite a bit, but has done an excellent job. So Ashley, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Indeed, indeed. We've got McKaylin Johnson keeping an eye on one of the other statewide races tonight, the race to take over the top spot on the state Supreme Court. Mac, any new numbers there?
Hey there, Rolly. Yeah, so it's just continued to go up right now. We see that 77% of precincts are reporting right now. And if you've been with us throughout our election coverage, Justice Karen Baker has kept a narrow lead over Justice Rhonda Wood. Right now, she has 52% of the votes that are reporting right now, with Justice Rhonda Wood at 48%. Still very close. We are not at 100% just yet. So the AP and CBS have not called this race, so we aren't either. But still a very narrow lead. So it'll be interesting to see if that changes at all, but it's kind of stayed at 52 to 48% for the last little bit since those polls have closed and numbers have come in. And of course, now no matter who makes it to that top seat of the state's highest court, this is still a historic race. Whoever wins will be the first woman elected to the Chief Justice seat for the Arkansas State Supreme Court in Arkansas's history, and that is pretty significant to see there. And of course, if you're wondering, well, what does the Chief Justice do? The Chief Justice is basically the CEO of the Arkansas State Supreme Court. They are going to be over those people, the more than 400 employees and staff that are inside of the administrative offices here at the Supreme Court. They are handling the budget, which is more than $50 million. So they had a lot of roles there, but they also are going to decide what cases does the court take in, and they are over all of the courts, state, district, trial courts. Again, the CEO, they run everything. So not only is this a historic race, this this race for Chief Justice is also very significant for the state as a whole. And of course, you know, the two justices, well, how do they differ? Because this is a nonpartisan race. They are not party affiliated. So you really have to look at the opinions that some of these justices have put out to really get a feel for why you feel like you would want to vote for them. And Justice Karen Baker and Justice Rhonda Wood have been on opposing sides on some significant ballot issues and some cases in the recent past. And one of those is why you didn't see it on your ballot when you went to go cast it. It would have been issue 4 for the proposed abortion amendment. Justice Rhonda Wood wrote the majority opinion while Justice Karen Baker wrote the dissenting. And so that is a hot button issue, especially in Arkansas, across the country, but here in Arkansas, a hot button issue. And so I'm sure voters, if they have been paying close attention to this general election, that is something that could have swayed their vote. But again, it will be interesting to see where those votes lie at the end of the day when all of those precincts are reporting. Because again, we are just under 80%. They are not all in right now. Justice Karen Baker, again, ahead with around 52%. Justice Rhonda Wood with 48. Interesting to see. Votes are not all in right now. But reporting live from the Arkansas State Supreme Court, McKaylin Johnson, back to you.
All right, McKaylin, thank you so much. She's really, you know, for someone who might not be familiar with what does the Arkansas Supreme Court Chief Justice do, she put it very plainly and just, you know, really laid it out for us.
She's schooling us.
She did. She really did. So thank you so much, McKaylin.
We across the mall from where she is located is the state capitol. There's a chance. Again, we heard Maya describe there's still bags of votes out there in these different cities. And we talked during the stream earlier about how a very close race in West Memphis could turn into a Republican pickup in the state House of Representatives, but also signs that there is a Democratic pickup in Northwest Arkansas at this point.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a Democrat pickup in the Deanna Hodges seat, which I think is District 9 up there. That was if you go back to last cycle, that was going to be a tough one for Republicans to pick up. They managed to get it. Democrats ran the same candidate, Dinah Worthen, that they ran last time. Looks like they're going to pick that up. Going back to District 35, we talked about Milton Nick's seat. Talk about a weird, kind of swinging back and forth. It looked like the Republican Thorne was going to win it by about 25 votes. Some more votes came in. It looks like Democrats going to keep it by about 110, 120 votes. So there's some really close races. You talked about the Carlton Wing race here in Central Arkansas. We're still waiting for some more to come in on the Carolyn Brown race here. Just
a couple of votes, dozen votes difference in the Wing vote.
I think right now we're looking at a difference of about 216, but I mean there's still it looks like 73% in, so still a lot of votes out there. So we'll see what happens, but it's gonna be some close races that go I think well past midnight in those county clerk's offices.
Sounds like it. So yeah.
The Delta is always a fun place for some of those counties reporting weeks later. But Phillips County, we're looking at you from last election cycle. But we know one place that just got a whole parcel full of votes, and that is Pulaski County. Back out to Ashley. We thought we were done with you, Ashley.
I'm glad I get to talk with you guys one more time, at least one more time tonight, and it's always fun to have updated numbers, so bear with me as we look through these together for the first time. But it looks like we now have 39,000 election day votes, and that's about 61% of the votes of Pulaski County. Now I'm looking at these numbers for the three races we're following. First, the Little Rock City Director for position 9, which is Jordan Thomas against City Director Antoine Phillips. We have again Jordan Thomas. He's inched up just a smidge at about 23%, while Director Antoine Phillips is still at 58, almost 59%. So no real change there. With the City Director position 10, we have Director Joan Adcock versus Blake Tierney. So we have about 46% for Director Joan Adcock and about 43% for Blake Tierney. Again, no real change there, just a smidge of, new numbers, and the percentages are changing. And then for the sales tax proposal, it looks like we had a little bit more of a change. We have 28% who are voting for part of the sales tax, and then 42% say no. And then for the second part of the sales tax, we have about 26% for and 45% against. So again, still too early to call any, definitive answers. We're really looking at that race against Director Joan Adcock and Blake Tierney, but otherwise, it's an election night, and you can never predict any of these numbers. So we're riding the high just like you guys are, and we'll get those results to you right as they come in, as you've seen tonight, all tonight, where we've just read them on air with you guys. So we'll be here, we'll get you the results, and make sure you stay tuned to THV11.
All right, Ashley, I make a motion that we table this and send it to Wake Up Central.
Yeah, I think that is great. But it's really been a great night, especially just following up with what Ashley said. We saw a lot of the board candidates just really pushing for a better Little Rock, better neighborhoods, better economy. So it'll be interesting just to see what the future of Little Rock looks like. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to getting feeling back in my legs too. I think.
Yeah. Well, we have a bright future tomorrow, bright and early on Wake Up Central. But we continue to follow and see. The work is not over yet. We're still seeing some of those votes coming in for the presidential race. Still seeing how things are going to look with Kamala Harris and President Trump. So
CBS News will take us through the early morning hours and late night here as the presidential race continues to go back and forth in some key battleground swing states. The map I'm looking at, I've got states that keep going red, blue, blinking back and forth. It's like looking at a Vegas neon sign at this point. But as far as the local races, we're going to still need to get those updates to you. Wake Up Central will be streaming here on this platform starting at 7:30. I'm going to ask my producer to correct me. 7 to 7:30 tomorrow on this platform. It's an extended 30 minutes on top of their normal time on air. So be sure to join Hayden and Karen for all of that. But gentlemen, it has been a wonderful evening. I think tremendous contributions as we
It has been a pleasure.
It's been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of
sir.
fun. Thank you guys for having us.
and we had chairs this year. We love that. Thank you guys for sticking with us.
Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.